two, test one, 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 two. Okay.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Homegrown Coffeehouse, the club that is rooted in folk music and powered by Carrot Cake, and this is a self-actuated microphone, apparently. And it's leaning to the left, I hope. At any rate, tonight is just going to be a great night. I love Don. We've known him for a very long time. He was one of our very early performers here. I can't fight this microphone. It's just too funny. Oh my goodness, look, I have a roadie. Wow, I feel like I've graduated. Anyway, I mean, Don has been so amazing in the way he's opened up his life to everyone and all the relationships and escapades, and definitely one of our favorite performers, whether he's singing, playing, or spinning a yarn. So he's our main act tonight. And the person holding the microphone and her sister are Chris and Meredith Thompson. And I was just telling her that the last time I saw them, they were so much younger. They were babies, basically, and with these angelic voices. They were these beautiful twins, and it was the most amazing sound. And then we lost track of them. And she said, well, you know, kids, that stuff. So anyway, they're back tonight. So they're opening for Don, and I'm excited. So it's so good to have you back. All right.
Checking 1, 2. Yep, making sure it's all on. That's true. Okay. Tell the poem. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't need to. You don't. Okay, sorry. You have to remember your own stuff. That's part of it. This poem is called Amazing. And we wrote the lyrics of this song kind of based on this poem. When you think of amazing, count yourself in for the grit that you bring to the through you have been, for
keeping it together when it was falling apart, for living and loving with all of your heart. So this is called Amazing. Lift up your eyes, take time to see all you are facing is topography. Overrun to the ebb and the flow, find strength to lean in and trust that you know when you think of the through you have been, for keeping it together when it was falling apart, for living and loving with all of your heart. Thank you. We're going to bring a friend up, Jackie Damsky on violin. Thank you. I'll give a hand up for Jackie here while I'm also tuning. Whoops, I'm turning the wrong peg. And this next tune we're going to do, we wrote for a friend who became ill, but she was just a person of so much light and life and generosity. So we wrote this song for her called Lovely. And it's better if it's in tune. All right. Take your time. There it is. I know you have seen sorrow, and I know you have seen trouble, but you give your time generously, and that's why I think you're lovely. It's the pain you're not afraid to show, about the news you didn't want to know, but you speak so honestly, and that's why I think you're lovely. Lovely is as lovely does. It's not the way that you look, it's the way that you live. It's not something you have, it is all you give. And so many others look to billboards and magazine covers, but you live so bravely, and that's why I think you're lovely. Lovely is as lovely does. It's not the way that you look, it's the way that you live. It's not something you have, it is all you give. Lovely is as lovely does. It's not the way that you look, it's the way that you live. It's not something you have, it is all you give. Thank you so much.
We must say that we've played a lot of different coffee houses, and it's the desserts that power the coffee houses. So this coffee cake powered coffee house, this is awesome. It looks delicious. Who here had the coffee cake? I mean, carrot cake. Carrot cake. Nobody had the coffee cake. Carrot cake. Yeah, it looks delicious, and we rate coffee houses in part by the desserts, and this one is rating incredibly high.
Yes, Meredith and I have played a bunch all over, and we really appreciate Unitarian churches because they host so many coffee houses, and we always say thank God or whoever for the Unitarians. One day we were in a Unitarian church basement where the green room was, waiting for a coffee house to begin, and on the wall, it was the Sunday school room, so on the wall were children's letters to God. And one child had written, "Dear God, it's wonderful that you made so many different religions, but do you ever get them confused?" And another child had written, "Dear God, thank you so much for my baby brother, but what I prayed for was a puppy." And then another child had written, "Dear God, who draws the lines around the countries?" And thinking about that and thinking about how people used to draw maps long before they could fly over the world and see what it looked like. And that's what sparked this song. It's called Lines of Longitude.
But then I learned that it all depends upon your point of view.
I grew up here in New England, and we love to go hiking in the White Mountains. And of course, we know the New Hampshire license plate has that profile on it, the Great Stone Face, or also called the Man of the Mountain, the Old Man of the Mountain. We had been there for years and years. There had been stories written. Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote about it in the 1800s. And then, of course, May 2003, it fell from its perch. And we were thinking about that and thinking about just how you think some things will never change, but things are always changing. That's nature's way. So this is called Old Man of the Mountain.
Of the sky, how the wind weathers the mountains as the time passes by. You can take the ropes and tethers, you can anchor to the wall, but you'll never stop that fall. I listened always to the flowing river of his words, but I did not believe the message that I heard. You see, mountains are forever in this child's eyes, as sturdy as the bedrock, as certain as the sky. Never thought I'd see that mountain fall. 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 I followed in his footsteps up the winding path, and when my footing faltered, my father would turn back. He would reach out his hand, he would steady my way, and return to face the mountain again. Then many summers later, when we walked the granite trail, for the first time ever, my father's footing failed. This time it was I who reached out my hand, and I thought back to the words he had said. You can forge a form of iron, but that iron soon will rust. You can carve a granite headstone, but that too will turn to dust. You can take the ropes and tethers, you can anchor to the wall, but you'll never stop that fall. Never thought I'd see that mountain 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 fall. And sorrow spread like wildfire through the valleys and the towns. The day the sun revealed that the old man had stepped down, all the measures we had taken to preserve and delay could not change nature's way. And so, my child, I'll tell you about the waves of the sky, how the wind weathers the mountains as the time passes by. But just look to the horizon, just lift your eyes, for where one mountain has fallen, another will rise.
got one more song for you, and then we're going to get Don White up here. And I just have to say, when we played with Don recently, I introduced that last song, and it's really kind of about, hiking with your parent or looking up to your parent. And I have to say, Don is so amazing. He is not only an incredible performer, but he is just such a kind and giving mentor. And he's definitely been a mentor to many musicians like us on stage and to many other people. So just so grateful to Don, and really looking forward, as always, to hearing him tonight.
We've heard him a few times, and he is still funny. He is that good. Like,
That's it.
Chris has done a number of shows with him, and Jackie and I have also done a number of shows with him. But it's always fun. It's always good.
So one of the most fun places we've played is we played on a boat called the Clearwater. And the Clearwater is a 109-foot-long sailing sloop, single-masted sailboat. These used to sail up and down the Hudson River. And years ago, Pete Seeger decided he was going to get some people together, build one, and it became the flagship for cleaning up the Hudson River, and it's called the Clearwater. And I have to say, at one point, we got a chance to meet Pete Seeger, and I remember standing on the Clearwater, this big, beautiful boat, talking to Pete Seeger, and I asked him, I said, Pete, what was it like to know Woody Guthrie? He said, oh, he didn't go that, but that's me, but there was a sparkle in his eye. There was this mischief in his face. And I thought to myself, this is the folkiest moment I will ever have in my whole life. So we wrote this song called Clearwater, and it has a part for you. And your part is, and the wind and the tide will be our guide, and the wind and the tide will be. And here's the tune. It goes, and the wind and the tide will be our guide, and the wind and the tide will be. Then it repeats, and the wind and the tide. When we raise the white sail in the Thank you, Jackie. I do want to say a thank you to the Homegrown for having us, and I also want to welcome to the stage Don Wood.
Kristen Meredith Thompson. Jackie Damsky. Hello there. Hello, everyone. Hi. Tell me this doesn't feel like an AA meeting. All right. All right. So, thanks for coming out. And so that's what this song is about. Not staying home. Everybody okay? I just think they're unbelievable. That's I want to start out with them because I feel like I'm flying when I sing it. I've got $300 bills that are all brand new. They are begging me to think of something cool to do. How about I'll take you downtown, spend them all on you. I don't want to stay home tonight. We have worked so hard for so many years, built a home, a life, a family, and 2 careers. Saved our money for the future, now the future's here. I don't want to stay home tonight. I can't stay home again tonight. I can't stay home again tonight. I can't stay home, can't stay home. I need you and me, how it used to be. Every week on Friday night, there is so much history that only we can see. Can't stay home again tonight. Me and Michael, Johnny, Richard, Ruthie, and Joan all had bouts with cancer last year, you know. If cancer was a man, I would punch him in the throat. I don't want to stay home tonight. 'Cause time isn't sentimental, it doesn't seem to care about your plans or your hopes and dreams. It just keeps track of your minutes and wipes the slate clean. I don't want to stay home tonight. I can't stay home again tonight. I can't stay home again tonight. I can't stay home, can't stay home. I need you and me, how it used to be. Every week on Friday night, there is so much history that only we can see. Can't stay home again tonight. Well, I know we can't party like we did before. Can't stay out till 4 in the morning no more. But the house is paid off and the kids are all grown. What the hell have we been working for? Let's take a nap. I should just end it there. Let's take a nap, take our inhalers, take a multivitamin, and then go out to hear some music with all of our friends who didn't die from the way we used to party back then. I don't want to stay home tonight. 'Cause time isn't sentimental. It doesn't seem to care about your plans or your hopes and dreams. It just keeps track of your minutes and wipes the slate clean. I don't want to stay home tonight. I can't stay home again tonight. I can't stay home again tonight. I can't stay home, can't stay home. I need you and me, how it used to be. Every week on Friday night, there is so much history that only we can see. Can't stay home, can't stay home. I can't stay home again tonight. Yeah. Chris and Mary Thompson, they'll be back later. Who's seeing me for the first time? Raise your hands up. Oh, look at the fresh meat in the church tonight. Wow. Nothing else going on in town tonight? All right. So I've been to Needham a lot in my life. I used to work for a company called ADT, installing security systems in people's houses, and they were in Westford for a while there. So I used to hide over here when I was supposed to be working in that bagel joint down the street there. And my take on Needham, it's a nice town, but I feel like, I was saying this earlier, I feel like it's the town with the most expensive baby carriages in the world. You know what I'm talking about? like mom can jog with her baby carriage and all that? All right, here we go. Rascal is the dog, he ain't too bright. Me and Rascal were sitting on the couch last night when my woman come in and she started to cry. She looked at us with such terror in her eyes. She said, I have raised these children for 18 years while you, Don White, have done nothing. Oh, look, we found the pulse of the audience already. And now they're growing up and they're moving out of here. And my big reward for all that I've been through is this dog as dumb as mud. And you? Yippee-yahoo. Well, Rascal looked at me in disbelief. He said, she can't be talking about you and me. She has got us to spend the rest of her whole life with. Would you please tell her how incredibly lucky she is? And I said, who is going to love you any better than this? Will wake you up every morning with big wet kisses when we hear the police sirens in your neighborhood. We throw our heads up in the air and we howl for you. Ow! And that's cool. You got to admit, that's pretty cool. You know, I don't believe we had succeeded in convincing her of the outrageous good fortune that had just befallen her. In fact, instead of looking happy as she could be, she looked a little bit, well, you know, suicidal to me. But hey, kids go to college, kids move away, but dogs and husbands, that's who stays. To you it seems like a terrible trick of fate, but me and Rascal don't see it that way. We're thinking, ain't we cuddly, ain't we cute? We're both real funny, both real true. There's another thing about us that's very cool. If you scratch us on our belly, our left leg moves. And you gotta admit that's cool. I feel like I'm scaring the new people. Well, okay, so maybe we ain't that smart. We're a couple of mutts with a lot of heart. New people, this is what I look like when I'm flirting. And when I need new medication. But no one could ever love you better or give you more loyalty than this dog, as dumb as mud. This dog as dumb as mud. This dog as dumb as mud. And me, how lucky can one girl be? She's got a dog like you and a man like me. We'll be together well into this next century. Put that knife down, baby. Rascal, I don't think Mama's too happy. Maybe we should sing for her. She always likes that. It appears to be at least a handful of potential canines in the audience this evening. Maybe if we told them about the domestic difficulties that we're having on the home front, they might chime in and sing along. You know, in a lot of communities, if you heard, I don't know, 100 people in a church howling at the top of their lungs the way that we're going to be in a couple of minutes, it might draw some attention. I want to remind you that you are in a Unitarian church tonight. And the neighbors are getting used to weird sounds coming out of this building. But in a couple of minutes, we're all going to be howling. Somebody will be walking by with a friend of theirs who came here from out of state, and the friend will be concerned when they hear the animal noises coming from the second floor of this building. But the local person will say to them, "Don't worry about that. It's probably just another workshop." Inner peace through group howling. That's the name of our workshop here today. Let's see if we can shake them up over there at the pizza place across the street, all right? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right. All right, I'm going to tell you a story. It's a new story. I'm working on it, and it goes like this. My heart, this thing right here underneath this red shirt, has always had a pedestrian beat, a steady beat. Boom, 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 like that. Like a marching band beat, like Charlie Watts. You know, not a lot of frills, not a lot of fills, just steady. Boom, 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 boom. And then about 6 months ago, it decided that it wanted to be a drummer in Dizzy Gillespie's band. And all of a sudden, it was playing bebop. It was going, what was it going? Boom, boom. It was going, bump, ba wah wah, boop, boop, beep, brah, wah, wah, ba, ba, ba. And I said, cool. And I said to my wife, look, my heart's playing bebop. Cool, right? She goes, not cool. Go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor, and I grab the stethoscope, I stick it on here, and the guy, I go, look, bebop, cool, right? He goes, not cool. Go get an echocardiogram. Now, I've been thinking a lot about being older. And the reason I'm thinking a lot about being older is because I'm old, right? I'm 67 years old. Remember, don't tell me I'm not old, okay? Like, remember how old 67 was when you were 17? That was as old as you could be. It was not even worth talking to somebody 67, right? So I've been thinking a lot about being old. What does it mean to be old? All that stuff. And one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of things that you notice about being an older person is that a lot of things diminish. All right, you have to get used to diminishing things. Your vision diminishes, right? Your stamina diminishes. Your patience diminishes. Your willingness to tolerate idiots diminishes. There's a whole lot of diminishing going on in the older person. But some things increase. And some of them are obvious. Your weight, your appetite. But some things increase that I didn't expect. And one of the things that has increased significantly in my later years that I did not see coming, but it was a significant increase, was my vocabulary of medical terms. I have prostate cancer. I'm an encyclopedia on that. I could just, I sound like a doctor when I'm talking about that stuff. But echocardiogram, that's my new one, echocardiogram. Raise your hands up if you ever had one. All right, all you people, don't bother to sign the mailing list. It's too late for you. For those of you that haven't had one, I'm going to describe the whole thing to you. So first of all, it's not like a EKG. It's not like lines like this on a piece of paper. It's like a sonogram. It's like what they used to show you, like what they show you like a baby in the womb. But in my day, when they would show you a sonogram of a baby in the womb, you couldn't tell what it was. It was like blurry and all that. But now it's like space age 3D. Like it's clear, right? So we go in to this place, and the woman is a technician. She's standing next to me, lays me down sideways on this bed, and she puts this thing on my heart. And right here in front of my face is a screen, like a monitor. And it's right there. I can touch it because she has to hold this thing over my heart, and the thing it's projecting has to go on the screen, so it has to be close so she can hold this on my heart and see what's going on. She's moving it around, right? Right? And so it can't be way over there. It has to be right here. So right in front of my face, I have this screen. And so she puts this thing over my heart, and it goes through the skin and the bones, and it projects like a live streams my beating heart right in front of my face like this. And as soon as I saw it, I got so emotional. I wanted to talk to it. I'm like, look at you. You're awesome. You've been beaten in there since the day I was born. I love you. You're fantastic. And I'm having these great big swells of emotion. And the technician is looking at me like, oh, boy, what do we got here? And I'm just being overwhelmed. I'm looking at this thing, boom, 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 right in front of my face, clear, like a television screen, just as clear as it can be, boom, 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 boom. And I'm thinking about all the things that I've done in my life and how this thing has made it possible. And I'm like, oh, like that, right? And then she goes, Mr. Wright, we're going to look at the lower chamber, boom, 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 boom. Mr. Wright, we're going to look at the upper chamber, boom, 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 boom. We're going to look at the flappy thing, whatever you call it, plum, 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 like that. And I'm like, it's just like, I'm in love with this thing that I'm looking at. I'm just like I feel like I'm, whatever. Like I'm losing my mind is what's happening. Right? I'm being swells of emotion. And then she says, Mr. Wright, now I'm going to turn the sound on, and you are going to hear the sound of your heart pushing blood through your body. And I'm like, I am going to hear the sound of my existence, the sound of the source of my 67 years of life. And she puts the sound on, and you hear this sound. Whoosh, whoosh. And now I feel like crying. I'm like, I'm having all these feelings. And in my mind, anybody who knows me, seen me before, emotion and comedy are right like here, like that. Like there's no space in between them. So I jump from one to the other all the time, right? So I go from like wanting to cry with emotion, I'm overwhelmed with emotion, right to comedy. Like now I start thinking about things that I think are funny. The first thing is I start apologizing to it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry about the fried clams. Boom, 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 boom. I'm looking at it. I'm so sorry about the fried clams and the not exercising. I knew it was bad for you, but I didn't know how cool you were till I saw you. I feel bad about it now. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm laughing. Now the technician's looking at me like, oh, now he was going to cry. Now he's laughing. She's got her finger on a panic button, right? And I started thinking about all this other comedy stuff, and I'm in my mind. I'm not saying this out loud. I'm talking to my heart. I'm saying, you're awesome. You're unbelievable. And now I start hearing my kidneys and my lungs complaining. Hey, what about us? We're working hard down here too. I'm like, lungs? Really? This guy was beaten before I was born in the womb. What were you doing, lungs, in there? There's no air in there. You weren't breathing in there. This guy is the employee of the year every year for 67 years. Kidneys, lungs, liver. You guys would be nothing without him. Shut up. Sit down. This is the guy right here. And I'm laughing because this is funny to me, although I'm losing my mind in the process. And then I start thinking about it, like I'm talking to it, but it's like a guy working in a machine shop who's working on a machine that could cut his fingers off, right? And so he has to look at it. But I'm like talking to it as if I was talking to a guy doing an important job, like my heart. And he's hearing me, but he can't look at me. It's too dangerous. But I know my heart is listening to me. And I know it's hearing me praise it and tell it how great it is. I feel like my heart could stick its leg out and trip somebody walking by, right? But just to let me know that it was hearing what I was saying. And I'm thinking these insane thoughts in my mind. And then I'm watching it, boom, 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 boom. I know it's hearing me. You're so awesome. I love you so much. You're the greatest. Wow, boom, 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 boom. And then just for a second, because I know it's listening to me, I see, it starts to go into like a Charlie Parker, a bebop riff. Just for a few seconds, it's first going like this, boom, boom, boom. And then it goes, bop, ba-da-wa-da, bop, bop. And I go, whoa! And I see one of the valves wink at me, and then I hear my heart go, hey, I'm just fucking with you. Boom, 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 boom. And I burst out laughing. And the nurse is like, oh, man, I'm going to have to call security. So again, this is a pattern with me. Emotion, comedy, and then deep emotion. So that's the pattern, right? Probably do some of that during the course of this show here. So emotion, comedy. Now I start thinking the deepest emotional things that I know how to think. And I'm talking to it in my mind. I'm going, when my mother died, I thought you were broken. I thought you were broken. That's what I was saying. I was saying my heart is broken. But you weren't broken. My head was broken. My life was broken. My world was broken. Everything about me was broken except you. You just kept showing up for work every minute. Boom, boom, pushing blood to my ungrateful internal organs. Boom, boom. And I said, it's because you weren't broken that I was able to live through this great loss in my life, the loss of my mother. It was because you weren't broken. And one heartbeat at a time, one pushing of blood whoosh, at a time, I was able to sleep. And I was able to dream, and I was able to mourn, and I was able to put 1 day, and then 2 days, and then 1 week, and then 2 weeks between me and this loss that I had in my life. Boom, boom, because of you, because you never stopped. You never stopped. You are the best friend I've ever had. You were because you were steady and not broken. I was able to take all the broken parts of my life, my head, my life, my world, and put them back together and become strong after this. Not because of me, but because of you. Because you were steady and on time and never missed a beat. And all of a sudden now I'm having like this gigantic wave of emotion. And I'm like, I love you. And then this tear runs down my cheek. And the technician says, Mr. White, are you okay? And I said, I'm just having a little moment with my heart. She puts her hand on my arm, and she said, it happens a lot. She said, I see this a lot, Mr. White. And then for about 45 seconds, we had this moment, like less than a minute, where I wasn't like, patient 81 and she wasn't the technician, but we were like two human beings having a moment about life, about the miracle of life, about the unlikeliness of it, the unlikeliness that this thing would just be. We're just having this moment to two human beings, two strangers, and then just like that, over. Now she's the technician, I'm the patient. She hands me some paperwork. Here, Mr. White, take this up front. And I can't hear what she's saying. I'm just looking at this thing. Boom, 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 like that. And she's saying, it doesn't look like there's any damage, Mr. White. It doesn't, it's okay. Take this paperwork, bring it up front. She lets go of my arm. She goes, go a little easy on the fried clams. And I'm just looking at this thing, the source of my existence. I'm thinking about all the joy that I had in my life, all the trouble I've gotten into, all the mischief I've caused, all these moments like this, because this guy shows up for work every minute. Just looking at it and marveling at it. Then she hits the button, boom, 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 and the screen goes black. California when this is a different guitar here, buddy. Sorry about that. Went to California when I was young. I stood beside the highway, I waved my thumb. I met a lot of maniacs, I met a lot of bums. They were all really kind to me. Life is not like TV. People in Michigan say hello to people on the street that they don't even know. And drivers in Boston make a left-hand turn without turning their signal on. In 1993, if you were talking to yourself walking down the street, it was sad because it meant that you were crazy. Now it means that you're a businessman. It's not crazy, but it's still kind of sad. I went to California when I was young. I stood beside the highway, waved my thumb. Met a lot of maniacs, met a lot of bums. They were all really kind to me. Life is not like TV. You know, my boss is younger than my children are. I've got to tell you, people, that is so bizarre. He's so adorable when he yells at me. It makes me want to pinch him on his cheek. And say, coochie, coochie, coo, coochie. I went to California when I was young. Stood beside the highway, waved my thumb. Met a lot of maniacs, met a lot of bums. They were all really kind to me. Life is not like TV. A lot of good musicians used to say to me, you can't play guitar and you can't sing, so you could never make it in this here scene. And I don't think that they were wrong. But I wonder where they all have gone. I went to California when I was young. I stood beside the highway, I waved my thumb. Met a lot of maniacs, met a lot of bums. They were all really kind to me. Life is not like TV. People in Michigan say hello to people on the street that they don't even know. And drivers in Boston make a left-hand turn without turning their signal on. They're not thinking about you at all. They just keep on rolling, they keep on rolling, they keep on rolling along. So during COVID, I wrote a book. I have two books. My first book is called Memoirs of a C Student. That's the name of my first book. It took 5 years to write that book. If I was a B student, I could have done it in a week probably. But this book is called The Hitchhiking Years and 4 Other Stories. And so 135 pages of this book are about the fact that my wife and I, when we were just out of high school, 1974, left Lynn, Massachusetts, and stuck our thumbs out and hitchhiked for 3 years. Do you believe that? Yeah, we estimate 60,000 miles. We hitchhiked to Alaska, to Newfoundland. We got hopelessly addicted on freedom and the kindness of strangers. Now, in this world today, people will tell you that there is no kindness in the world. But that is not my experience at all. We couldn't move 1 inch. 60,000 miles we went, and we couldn't move an inch without a stranger being kind to us. And when we left Lynn, Massachusetts, which is where we're from, people would say to us, you're going to go hitchhike out in the big world? Aren't you afraid you'll meet rude and dangerous people? Like, not ruder and more dangerous than these people around here. And that was the case. And I just think that the world is kind of, that there's money to be made in fear, you know? So my dad was a gambler, and he would say, what's the math on that? So if somebody does something horrible in the western part of the state, they kill somebody, something like that, they send a camera crew from Boston to drive out there to film it. My dad would say, what's the math? How many houses did they pass on their way there that nobody did anything bad in? That's the math of it. How many houses are between here and, let's say, Worcester? 1 million, 2 million, 5 million? That's the math, 5 million to 1. But if you just flick your phone on, you'll think it's every house, right? So the hell with that. I have seen, driven on, stood beside, bounced untethered in the back of pickup trucks for miles upon, and inhaled deep into my lungs the dust of many dirt roads in my life. But never could I have imagined a stretch of highway as impressive as the Alaska-Canada Highway. When we set out to hitchhike this beast in 1975, it was approximately 1,400 miles of dirt. If a similar road extended west from Boston, your tires would not touch asphalt until you reached Omaha, Nebraska. Of course, it's all paved now, which means that North America is no longer able to provide a similar experience to the one that Teresa and I had in July of that year. Not only was it unpaved, but being the only land route for supplies destined for Alaska, it attracted a very special breed of unhinged truck drivers who drove it at high speeds with an attitude that was just a smidgen beneath reckless abandon. The first time we were nearly blown off the side of the road and into the Yukon wilderness by a truck driving 75 miles per hour, pulling 3 fully loaded trailers on this epic patch of gravel, we knew we were entering a world peopled with a tribe of human beings we had not previously encountered. A second, impossible to ignore indication that our docket of new experiences would soon include a series of fresh entries were the road signs. The first one we leaned our backpacks against, The first one we leaned our backpacks against had taken at least 1 and possibly 2 shotgun blasts, permanently relinquishing its intended information to the realm of conjecture. Now, see, that's a Metro West joke. Like, you have to have a vocabulary to get that joke. That one lands so hard when I do it in Lynn, it's terrible. Now, yeah. No judgment, I'm just saying. Now, standing beneath a bullet-riddled sign that drunks, kids, moms, and clergymen shot at out the passenger window with a nonchalance reminiscent of the way most folks would wave to a neighbor was intimidating and spoke volumes. Now, there's a sulfur hot spring along the Alcan Highway in northern British Columbia. It's called Leard. Today, there are changing stations, a campground, and a restaurant. To my recollection, when our driver pulled over and said he wanted us to experience something special, there was nothing there except a wooden boardwalk. We walked a short distance through swamp and boreal forest. You could feel the heat before the path opened to reveal a pool of water with steam rising from it. A stream fed the area so you could get warmer or cooler by swimming toward or away from the hot spring. Sulfur, in case you don't know, smells like rotten eggs. In my life, I have had more than my share of rotten egg experiences. This would turn out to be my favorite. Teresa had told me that when she was a little girl, she loved the TV westerns and the stories about pioneers and wagon trains. And before she was old enough to know that she had been born a century too late, she was sure that when she grew up, she would be a pioneer woman. And here we were, 2 kids from Lynn, Massachusetts, holding our bodies against each other in a natural hot spring at the top of the world. Her long, wet, black hair touched the small of her back. Her crystal blue eyes windowed, the joy in her heart, the smile on her face unveiled that little girl who always knew that she was born to be a pioneer. This is one of my life's most treasured memories. All right, I'm going to invite Chris and Meredith and Jackie up here to play a song before we take a break. After the break, if anybody's here, I'll play some more. But I think I get paid no matter what happens, so no pressure on anybody. I want to take a minute and thank Beth and to remember Jim Sargent, who I loved very much. He was a lovely man, and all their family and all the volunteers keeping this thing alive for over 40 years now. So how about a nice round of applause for them? All right, this song is called Sense of Humor. It's for my friend, I'm singing it tonight for my friend Richard Fox. If anybody knows Richard Fox, he was from Worcester, Mass., one of my favorite people in the world. I just loved him so much. But he was really sick, and but he was so kind, such a kind person. And he, when other people were sick, he wanted them to call him, and he would just listen. He would just say, I know how you feel. And sometimes he was 20 times sicker than the people that he was listening to. And I just loved him. I would have loved him anyway because he was just beautiful. But he told me that he saw the Mothers of Invention in 1967, and that cinched it for me. like I was trolling, like he was like a superhero to me after that. But he called me just before he died. And I thought, when I saw his name on my phone, I thought, Maybe it's his wife calling me, telling me he's gone. He was really sick. And he said, hey, how you doing? I go, what's going on? He goes, I want you to sing at my funeral. I go, where are you calling me from? You know, cell phones are kind of a mystery. Maybe they work from the other side. I don't know. But he was just making plans, and Chris and I went and sang, and it was one of the great moments of my life. So I just want to speak his name. I think when you love somebody, it's beautiful to speak their name. Richard Fox, poet from Worcester, Mass. I just want my breath to push his name out into the world. So we'll do this one for him, and then we'll take a little break. All his children knew that he was dying when he asked them all to gather at his side. Spoke to them about the joyousness of a living from the perspective of someone about to die. My love for you is what I leave behind me. I see my love in everything you are. When I am gone and you want to find me, believe me, you won't need to look too far. I will be your sense of humor. Each time you find the strength to persevere, right inside that strength is where I'll be. When you touch a person's heart with kindness, that heart opens up, here where you will stay. As your heart grows, I know that you will find this is the way that you can live beyond your day.
Now take some time to contemplate the night sky, so vast beyond all you can comprehend. The magnitude of what is all around you can make your life seem small and insignificant. Now picture your heart if grown to its potential as being wider than all you could ever dream, and deeper than the unfathomable heavens. That's the way that my heart feels today to be.
I will be your sense of humor. I'll be your integrity. Each time you find the strength to persevere, right inside that strength is where I'll be. There's really nothing more that I can say now. If you don't mind, I would like to be alone. I want to spend a short time now in prayer. to thank God for all the love that I have known, and for all these hearts where my love has found a home. I will be your sense of humor. I'll be your integrity. Each time you find the strength to persevere, right inside that strength is where I'll be. That's where you can always go to be with me. All right. We'll be back in just a little while. Get something sugary to eat.
Okay, that's pretty high. So we're going to get started again. I just wanted to let you know what's coming up in the month of March, which happens to be a very busy month for us. On March 2nd, Chelsea Berry, who is one of my very favorite performers, what a powerhouse performer she is, and what a beautiful voice. And when Dawn mentioned going to Alaska, she grew up in Alaska, and I was born there, and so she's got that Alaskan outlook on life where you can deal with pretty much anything. So I highly recommend an evening with Chelsea. And the following Saturday, we never do this, but we're doing it now. The following Saturday, March 9th, we will have Greg Greenway. That is his rescheduled concert from the November concert when he cursed evil, evil laryngitis. So he will be back on March 9th. And on March 23rd, we have 2/3 of Low Lily coming. They are a wonderful Vermont-based Americana folk group. They are just terrific. If you've been connected to the Boston scene for any length of time, Flynn Cohen is a name you will know. And Flynn and Liz Simmons are the Low Lily duo, and they're really wonderful. April 6th, we have bluegrass. We have Southern Rail, which is like high-octane bluegrass. They're awesome. It's just great. It would be so great to have them here. On the 26th of April, we have Chris, who I don't see right now in the room. Chris Pay, there he is in the back corner. Chris Payhood and Tom Pirazzoli, and they are doing a makeup for they're doing a snow day. So we had a snow day. I can't believe it, but we did. And then May 11th is our last concert of the season, and the wonderful Katie Curtis will be the headliner. Oh, I can't wait. I love her to death. And we've had her many times over the years. So that is the rest of our season in a nutshell. So I'd love to welcome Dawn back to the stage.
Doesn't look like we lost too many. That's good. I want to thank you for coming out, especially at nighttime. Remember when you were younger, like 17, and some old person said, "I don't like to drive at night"? Remember what you were thinking? You're like, what? He said, "I don't like to drive at night because of the glare." You're like, what? The glare. But look at you, endangering other motorists to come out. It's the glare. This song is called "I'm from Lynn, What Can I Say?" I wrote this song in the 70s, but somehow I can still sing it with conviction. I was born in the city of Lynn, home of the first turbine engine. And as if that wasn't enough, it's also the home of marshmallow fluff. Hey, I bet you didn't know that. You can travel the whole country, you'll never find a bigger fluff factory. I'm from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn act this way. I don't talk slick like I'm from Nahant. I'm the son of a 30-year GE man. Don't be staring at me that way. I am from Lynn, what can I say? I used to hang around in Barry Park. That's illegal after it gets dark. I would stand on the bleachers where things got smoked and beer got chug-a-lug, bottles got broke. Later in the evening when the police come, 27 juveniles are on the run. Juveniles are running everywhere you see, jumping over fences, climbing in trees. Don White is too loaded to get away. His name is in the paper on the next day. His mother and his father just can't believe he would publicly humiliate the family. A say, Ma, I'm from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn act this way, I don't talk slick, that's what I said. I'm not from Swampskin or Marblehead, don't be staring at me that way, I am from Lynn, what can I say? On the corner of every street, somebody's cooking something greasy to eat. Deep fat is frying everywhere you look. The town is bound for the record books. A million sub shops open all night long. A socio-intestinal phenomenon. I still think that's the best line I ever wrote. I'm from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn eat this way. There's no room in my stomach for French cuisine. Give me a bag of cheese curls and a submarine. Julia Child, get out of my face. I'm from Lynn, what can I say? That's how you can tell when a song's been around too long, when it actually has dead people in it. I left Lynn 10 years ago. I didn't know where I was gonna go. 10 of my friends were leaning up against a bar and grill. 10 years later, they're leaning there still. Half of my friends who are not on the street are dead in jail or annoying me. And I'm from Lynn, what can I say? People from Lynn act this way. I don't talk slick, that's what I said. They won't even let me into Marblehead. They're afraid I'll steal something. And I might. Don't be staring at me that way. I'm from Lynn, what can I say? All right, so I'm going to preface this next thing I'm going to say before I sing this song by saying a statement that I want everyone to understand. I am glad that this thing that I'm going to talk about is legal now and nobody's going to jail for it, but I do not use it myself anymore. And what I'm talking about is weed. Okay, so do you remember when weed was quasi-legal? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Like when you had to get your doctor to lie about it for you? Dawn has glaucoma and some anxiety, so I'm prescribing 2 ounces of sticky Hawaiian bud for Dawn. But now you just walk in the store and you buy it. And I'm okay with that. I don't use it. I haven't used it since 1990. In my childhood, that's a different story. So I don't use it, but I'm glad no one's going to jail for it. I just want to be clear about that. Now, my concern is, first of all, in Lynn, where I'm from, you cannot go anywhere and not smell it anymore. It's coming out of churches and kindergartens and police cars, and you walk past the cemetery and it's wafting out of the cemetery. Like, how popular is it when dead people are smoking it? I don't even care about that. You come up to an intersection now in Lynn, it's 3 other cars, smoke pouring out of all the cars. You're like, go ahead. And they're like, nah, man, you go ahead. I don't even care about that. I'm concerned with 2 things. One, I'm concerned for joggers. Like, if you're pushing your $1 million baby carriage around Lynn and with the with the trail, with the whatever, the big tires on it, and you leave your house totally sober, and you're deep breathing past the church and the kindergarten and the police car and the intersection. By the time you get back, you got like a 4-pound bag of Doritos, and you spend the next 6 hours binge watching sitcoms from the 70s. I'm okay with that too. Don't even care about it. What I'm concerned about is conversation. Like, I came here early and I got to see people I hadn't seen for a while, and I talked to them, and I like to talk. I like to listen. People say things to me. I process it through my life experience. If it's something new, maybe it becomes something that I understand. And now I like the ballet of conversation. At a certain level, conversation is a ballet. One person moves and the other person moves accordingly. I love that. And the kind of conversation I am the fondest of, my favorite, the very top top conversation quality in the Don White world is the kind where the people that you're talking to can remember what you said. That's my favorite one. So I'm fearful now that with the availability of this stuff and the quality of it too, like the stuff that I used to sell when I was in high school, you wouldn't be good enough to lay on the barn floor and let your goat sleep on it. Now, like there's been like all these stoner mad scientists with tinctures for 30 years, right? And so every person that you know, everybody knows somebody who had an experience where they like ate a cookie or a brownie or a gummy and didn't realize that it was this atomic psychotic tincture thing, and they spent the next 9 hours talking to wallpaper. But anyway, those of us that love conversation in this world, I think we're going to have to go underground. We're going to have speakeasies. We'll call them Speak Coherently Easies. When you go down in the basement, you turn the corner, you go to the secret door, you knock on it, and the door slides open. Instead of saying, Joe sent me, you have to recite like 2 lines out of Shakespeare. Something like that, just to prove that you're present. So here we go. I sat around with a bunch of stoners. I listened to them talk all night long. They were sure that their conversation was deep with meaning. They were wrong. 'Cause when you smoke it, it makes you stupid. I thought you knew it, but I was wrong. We're not having a conversation. This is nothing at all. So Chris and Meredith referenced Pete Seeger. I think we should sing this chorus Pete Seeger style. You know what I'm talking about? I'll yell the line out and you sing it. Let's try it. 'Cause when you smoke it, 'cause when you smoke it, it makes you stupid. It makes you stupid. I thought you knew it. I thought you knew. But I was wrong. We're not having a conversation. This isn't nothing. Nothing at all. My friend Harry lit up a fatty to celebrate my brand new job. I watched his brain float out of my window. I was still talking, but he was gone. 'Cause when you smoke it, it makes you stupid, it makes you stupid. I thought you knew it, I thought you knew, but I was wrong. We're not having a conversation. This is nothing at all. So I have to get in character for this part right here. It's 1970. I guess it'd be 78 maybe. I'm 19 years old. I'm down at my friend's mother's basement. They're gone for the weekend. There's a lot of my friends are there, and there's a lot of smoke. You can barely see across the room, but I see across the room through the haze my best friend, and I can tell by the look that he has on his face that he just had a thought so deep, so profound, so meaningful that when he speaks it, if I am wise enough to take the wisdom in this thought and access it and apply it to my life, it will change the entire trajectory of my existence. So let me get into character. I'm going to droop my eyes a little bit. I'm going to slow the song down to stoner speed. It's still too fast, isn't it? Wait, hang on. There we go. All right, here we go. What if our whole life was just a dream, man? What if we're dreaming this right now? I forgot what I was just saying, let's order pizza. Pizza, wow. Cause when you smoke it, you smoke. It makes you stupid, it makes you stupid. I thought you knew it, I thought you knew. But I was wrong, We're not having a conversation, This is nothing at all. It cures glaucoma, it cures insomnia. Some people say that it is a cancer cure, but it does not cure incoherent conversation, that's for sure. Our kids are grown, they're both in their 20s. They live at home, they are never going to leave. And why should they go? They've got a good ear, you know. Their food, their phone, their rent is free. They would have to be out of their minds to leave. But I was thinking, what if things were different? You know, living here at home with you and me. What if we decided we could act like they both did when they were in their teens? So wake up, mama, climb out of this window. I have got the key, let's steal our daughter's car. We'll both get really drunk, we'll put a big dent in her trunk. And we'll drive real fast on the thoroughfare. If we get a speeding ticket, we won't care. We'll be the ones up all night acting wild. And they'll be the ones up all night worrying. Wake up, mama, climb out of this window. Come on out and be 16 with me. Picture our kids calling all of our friends up, asking them if they know where we are. Of course, all our friends will lie and say they ain't seen us all night. But we'll be standing right beside them while they're on the phone, smoking and drinking and carrying on when we come strolling home on Sunday morning. You know, around 10 o'clock while the neighbors walk to church. Our kids will ask us where we've been, and then they'll ask us again, and we will just make up a great big lie and swear that it's the truth until the day we die. And they'll be the ones who are trying to find the truth out. We'll be the ones who are lying through our teeth. And under pressure, we'll confess that we had unprotected sex. That will gross them out so much they might just start to think about moving out. Let that sink in for a minute. If turnabout is fair play in this life, and what better way to encourage them to leave than to give them both a dose of what it was like to live with them when they were in their teens. So wake up, mama, climb out of this window. I have got the key, let's steal our daughter's car. We will both get really drunk, but we'll put a big dent in her trunk. And no one will know where we are until we come home in a police car. We'll be the ones up all night acting wild. They'll be the ones up all night worrying. We go, mama, climb out of this window. Oh man, be careful. You're not as young as you used to be. That's 40 feet down there. I should have brought a ladder, probably. You know what? The kids are both drunk and passed out. Let's just go out the front door. Come on out and be 16 with me. Right in the 70s, I moved to Maine. I moved to Maine because I wanted to become famous. was the first in a series of really questionable business decisions on my part. Like moving to the moon to become famous. And prior to that, I hitchhiked for 3 years, so when I moved to Maine, I had no marketable skills. I moved to one of the most economically depressed places in the world. I didn't go to college. I was an excellent hitchhiker, but, you know, nobody was hiring. And the people who lived up there, they hated us. They called us Flatlanders. Have you ever heard that? Flatlanders, right? So, if you know, it's hard to translate the meanness of that term. Do you know what I mean? Well, let me explain to you what I think it means. It means you ain't from here. You ain't ever going to be from here. Stop acting like you're from here and go back to wherever the hell you came from. And so we thought they hated us, and maybe they did, but we also realized after a little while that we were providing them some much-needed entertainment. You know, I'm sure they were having a meeting at the town hall, wherever they meet. They're like, you know, who's got January 15th for the date these two hippies freeze to death in that house over there, right? And the guy lived across the street from us. His name was Wilbur, and he tortured us with that Flatlander stuff. But he was also really nice to us, and that's something that we noticed on the road. People would tell us they don't like us, don't like what you're doing, don't like your lifestyle, but then they would be kind to us. It was a familiar thing. You know, I don't understand it, but I recognize it when I seen it. So he ran a hose through the culvert so we could have running water when when it wasn't frozen, which was, I don't know, 2 weeks that year probably. And he just tortured us with the Flatlander thing, but he was nice to us too. So when my son was born in that house. My son was born in a house with that cost $75 a month, had no running water, and a two-seater outhouse. My parents have had like thousands of opportunities to be disappointed in my decision-making over the years, but the two-seater outhouse was like a bridge too far for them. I was like, Dad, you and Mom can hold hands out there. So my son was born in that house. He was born, we had a midwife and a technician, the prenatal care, postnatal care, delivery in the house. This is 1980. The entire cost for having my baby was $400. You believe that? Like I had like a Walmart baby. It costs that much to talk to a doctor on the phone now, doesn't it? Anyway, so when he was born, we brought him over to Wilbur because we were cocky now. And we said, Wilbur, you can say what you want about us. Call us Flatlanders. We ain't from here, ain't even ever going to be from here. But this kid, we're holding him like this. He's a Mainer. He was born in that house across the street in the state of Maine. He is a Mainer. And this is what he said to me, and I've never forgot it because it was the funniest / meanest thing I ever heard in my life. So this is what he said. I go, Wilbur, this kid's from Maine. He was born in that house across the street in Maine. He said, well, if your cat crawls in the oven and has kittens, you don't call them biscuits now, do you? I'm like, Wilbur, that hurt. So I told you that story because I want to tell you this story. I finally got a job. I got a job in a nursing home, but as a janitor. But in that time of my life, I was 22 years old. I had no marketable skills. I was living in a house with no running water. I was making $3 an hour, less money than it took to pay for a house that cost $75 a month to live in. And every morning when I opened my eyes, my heart would race so fast as soon as I realized that I was awake, and the future just scared me so much. I was horrified and petrified and in such trepidation about the future. I could not picture me being able to take care of this kid and this family. I just was in fear all the time. And my heart raced like that from the time I opened my eyes till I went to bed at night. And I got this job as a custodian in a nursing home in Waldoboro, Maine. it turned out to be one of the most important things that ever happened to me in my life, because I was stepping into my life, my adult life, trying to figure out what kind of man I'm going to be. And every day I went to work, I was surrounded by 100 people who were on the last page of their story. And I was drinking it all in. If you live this kind of a life, this is what it looks like at the end. If you live this kind of a life, this is what it looks like at the end. And I was just absorbing all this as I was trying to figure out what I was going to be. I was stepping into my world, into my adult life, of being surrounded by people who were done. They were basically done. And so on one end of the building, there was a guy named Mr. Bishop. To this day, he is the saddest human being I ever laid eyes on. Think about that. I'm 67 years old. Think about how many sad people I've seen in my life. Think about how many I saw today. He's the king. And he's the king. And the reason he was the saddest, and he stayed the saddest all these years, is interesting to me, because he wasn't evil, he wasn't a murderer, wasn't a burglar. He just wasn't kind. He wasn't a kind person. He was selfish. He didn't, he went to work, he yelled at his wife, he went hunting, he had a few beers, he pushed people out of the way to get the job he wanted. He was that guy, right? But he was just smart enough to know at the end of his life, when he was only going from the bed to the ground, that nothing he did in his life gave him anything he could look back on and feel good about. And his understanding of that information, the fact that he knew that, made him tragic, like Shakespearean tragic. He was tragic like Macbeth is tragic. And I hated going in his room. There was a cloud over his bed. It was the saddest place I'd ever been. And then on the other side of the building is Maddie Campbell. Maddie Campbell was 89 in 1979, so she was born in the previous century, right? And in her room, the sun was always shining. And I thought she had like a southern exposure, but it wasn't that. The sun wasn't coming in, it was coming out from her. Her life made perfect sense. She was like decade upon decade of kindness and generosity and being nice to people. Your friends are sick, you put some soup on a buckboard, you drive through the snow, you make sure they have a warm fire. If they're sick, you stay overnight. She just looked back, and all she saw was kindness and generosity, and every minute of her life made perfect sense to her, and she shined. And now, I'm not that smart now, but I really wasn't that smart then. But I knew just enough to know, if these are my two choices, I got to figure out how to be like this old lady over here. I don't want to end up like Mr. Bishop. And Maddie Campbell adopted me. She adopted me. I would get my work done in 2 hours, janitor, and I would sit beside her bed, and she would just talk to me. Nobody came to visit her. I was her only visitor, and she would teach me these things from this amazing life, and I would complain to her about how hard my life was. I look back on that and I feel bad about it. I was complaining about having to hitchhike in the snow to a job to a woman who didn't see a combustion engine till she was 40 probably, right? And she lived in the most inhospitable, frozen hunk of the world in the teens and the 20s, where survival depended on moose meat and the kindness of neighbors, right? And here I am complaining, and she would just listen to me and tolerate me, and she would give me these little pieces of wisdom, little by little, wisdom that you couldn't find now because it was born in a time that's gone, right? One day I was complaining to her about having to borrow money from my dad. $400. Dad, I know he'll give it to me, Maddie, but I just don't want people to take care of me anymore. I want to be able to take care of myself. I don't want to ask anybody else for help. And she said, it's your responsibility to let the people who love you help you. I go, it is not my responsibility to do that. She goes, how do you feel when someone you know is in trouble and you can help them? I go, that's different. She goes, do you like that feeling when you can help somebody that you love? I go, yeah. She goes, do you love it? I go, yeah, I love it when I can help somebody in my family or somebody that I love. She goes, then why would you deny these people who love you this feeling that you love so much? Right? And I'm telling you, I'm 22 years old, and I felt like something pop in my brain, like a synapse being created to accommodate a piece of information that I wouldn't have come across on my own until I was 50, I promise you. And she just kept feeding me these little pieces of wisdom like this. So I'm 22 and being mentored by somebody 90. But who does that happen to? I don't know. But and little by little, I noticed that my heart was still racing, but it was slowing down. And she was just feeding me these little pieces of information, and then and allowing me to believe that even somebody like me might be able to manifest a life that they could be proud of. And I just loved her. And I would have loved her if she wasn't funny, but the fact that she was funny just put like a cherry on the top of it, So one day I go in there, and she hands me a piece of paper. I go, what's this? She goes, this is my epitaph. I open it up, and it says, here lies Maddie. She had 1,000,000 ills. It wasn't those that killed her. It was the 500,000 pills. And I just adored her. My best friend when I was 22 was 90 years old, right? And then, of course, she died. And I was heartbroken, and I knew I had to put my big boy pants on and figure this stuff out for myself. And that night I had a dream. And in the dream, Maddie was in the dream. And when I saw her, I walked over to her, and she had her hands cupped like this. When I got close in this dream, she opened her hands up, and inside of her hands were thousands of sparkling diamonds. And I knew what was happening. I knew the meaning of this. It was no mystery. I knew it in the dream. I knew it at 22. I understood what was happening. Every minute, every moment in your life, where you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because you want something back. When you do the kind thing or the generous thing or the courteous thing or the respectful thing, just because it's the right thing to do, those moments get compressed into diamonds. And Maddie Campbell's last gift to me was to show me the thousands and thousands of sparkling moments of a life well lived. Not so I could see how many there were. It doesn't matter how many there are. It's so I could see the look of peace on her face as she looked back at the moments of her life. It was her gift to me. You know, live this kind of life, and you can be at peace with what you did at the end. You can go in peace. You know, you don't have to be like Mr. Bishop and just tortured because it's too late to go back. And Mr. Bishop would have given me his whole life savings if I could have sent him back for a month just to spread I love yous around and let me help yous around. It was too late for him. So this was Maddie Campbell's last gift to me, showing me these diamonds and what her face looked like when she saw them. And she called me over and said this one sentence in my ear, and I've thought about it all my life. And I'm going to let her speak through me because she'd be 130. You could never meet her. It's a way to show respect to her. And she said, in the end, the person with the most diamonds wins. Let's welcome Chris and Meredith back, please. All right, so are you getting tired? No. I am. But I'm going to explain to you what's going to happen. And there's a lot of glare out there, so make your own decisions, everybody. So we're going to sing this song. We're going to get Jackie up, and we're going to do probably 1, 2, 3 songs. And then maybe, if you want more, another song or two. That's 10:30. Are you sure you can handle that? All right. It's a big party at your house, you know. Okay. There is a little girl with pretty curls. She's about 5 years old, and she is waiting at the gate for her dad to come home. When he pulls around the corner in his shiny white car, she feels the magic light up in her heart. And he picks her up and he holds her. He says he missed her. He's glad that she is here. As the child lays her head on his shoulder, she whispers these words in his ear. Daddy, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. Now she is 20 and there's plenty of love everywhere. She's getting married, so her family and her friends are all there. They've gathered this morning to stand at her side as she waves goodbye to this time in her life. And they each take a moment to hold her and to tell her what she means to them. In a world that seems to keep getting colder, she has been blessed with a warm family and friends. She says, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. Now they are older and no one told her it got crazy like this. They're going to night school, they're working jobs too, and they are raising 3 kids. The youngest one is crying with a bruise on her knee. She needs attention and she needs sympathy. And when she picks her up and she holds her, that old magic lights up in her heart. And as the child lays her head on her shoulder, she knows exactly why they're working so hard. Little girl, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. Now they are 60 and their history spans 40 odd years. They have buried their parents, now their grandkids are here. There's something about the way they look in each other's eyes that speaks softly about the meaning of a life. And when he puts his arm out to hold her, it feels so familiar and warm. She thinks love is an expanding endeavor till your last breath. From the moment you're born, she says, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. Now she is 80 and she hates being in this nursing home. Her man's been gone now for a long while and she feels so alone. She closes her eyes and she begins to pray that a little comfort might just come her way. And God lifts her up and he holds her. And she remembers this feeling she has. She is not a woman whose life is almost over. She's a little girl being held by her dad. And God, I know exactly what love is. Love is real simple and true. Love is this feeling my heart gets when I'm being held close by you. And God, love is real simple. Love is real simple. Love is real simple and true. Oh man, you're the best. I thought you said this guy was funny. What the hell was that? Imagine if that was the last song of the night, right? You'd be leaving, and your friends would be picking you up and be like, hey, how was the comedy show? It was the worst comedy show! Please welcome back to the stage, Jackie Damsky. This song is called It's a Great Day to Not Be Dead. pretty hard sentiment to argue with, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on. So let's just do it. Play one more time, Jackie. I was on the highway, I was cruising along, I decided to put my seatbelt on. A minute later, baby, would you believe a Big Mac truck crashed into me? I told the policeman I was okay. He said, your seatbelt saved your life today. And the ambulance driver, the EMTs, they all, started singing this song to me. Said it's a great day to not be dead.
Shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-wop, shoo-wop.
To not cave in your windshield with your head.
Cave in your windshield with your head.
You are an ugly man, but if that occurred, believe me, you would be even uglier. And it's a
Great day to not be dead. Shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-wop, shoo-wop.
Okay, so this part goes back a long ways, so I'm going to call on the older folks here to help me. Is there anything but older folks here? Let's see. All right. I saw a news story on my TV set about a guy whose wife brought a knife to bed. Do we remember that guy? What was his name? Just call it out. Mr. Bobbitt, that's right. 1 hour later, as the story goes, a part of his anatomy was laying by the road. Well, my sassy wife looked over and she smiled at me. She started singing this song to me. She said, hey, it is a great day to not be dead.
Shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-wop, shoo-wop.
And not have your wife bring a knife with her to bed.
Shoo-be-doo-wop, chop, chop. I yell and I scream and I complain a lot, but at least I haven't cut no body parts off, 'cause it's a great day to not be dead. Shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-wop, shoo-wop.
You know, not cutting body parts off is a pretty good quality in a wife, really, when you think about it. If you're with somebody tonight and you've been with her any length of time and you're still put together anatomically the same way you were when you first met, I don't think it's inappropriate to say thank you. Look, we're having little tender moments out here. I thought about my car crash and my close call. I'll tell you what, Jackie, why don't you play a solo right about here? Violin tonight.
Oh, thank you.
I thought about my car crash and my close call, and then I started getting sentimental. I said, I love this house, I love you guys, I even love my rusty old car outside, and I'm so happy to be alive with you. Just testing that short-term memory, people. Let's do all the things we always said that we would do. 'Cause it's a great day. It is a great day. It is a great day. It is a great day. It's a great day to not be dead. All right. All right, Angel, ready? She walked into the room like she was walking off a cliff. In my mind I said, what kind of shattered angel is this? Her walk said, I've surrendered. In her face, I've had enough. Her eyes were holes, they were dark and cold. They said, I've given up. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. You know, life rains down so hard upon some people that we know. It tears their faith and their hope away, and they walk around like ghosts. And we see them as they are breaking, and as their spirit dies. But deep inside, we still believe they will come alive and fly. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. I said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. Across the room like she could walk across the sky, and those old dark eyes are so alive, they set the room on fire. This is no shattered angel, I say to myself. I feel Zuzu's pedals, I hear one small bell. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. Said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will fly. I saw an angel in pieces, as if the pieces all fell from the sky. Said in my heart, I believe this sad angel someday will Thank you. Well done. Wow. All right. All right, this is what we're going to call the fake ending of the show. So normally after a nice night like tonight, we would do our last song and then go backstage and wait for encore. I don't know. You could hide behind the sign, maybe. But my eyesight's not that good. It's dangerous. Could be falling. So we're gonna play our last song, "Wink, Wink," and then when we're done, the four of us are gonna stand here like this. If you'd like us to play another song, make a lot of noise, and we'll come back like this. Wah! But if you've had enough, and believe me, we would understand that. Just go. All right, so this is a Woody Guthrie song. It's called "This Train is Bound for Glory." Ready? Let's just start right from the chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This train is bound for glory, this train. This train is bound for glory, this train. This train nothing but the righteous and the holy. This train is bound for glory. This train.
You know, this train don't carry no con men. This terrain. This train don't carry no con men. This terrain. This train don't carry no con men. Lying, cheat, here and gone men. This train is bound for glory. This train, sing it like you mean it.
This train is bound for glory. This train.
This train is bound for glory. This train.
This train is bound for glory. Don't carry nothing but the righteous and the holy. This train is bound for glory. This
Play
train.
one, Jackie.
This train don't carry no gamblers. This train. This train don't carry no gamblers. This train. This train don't carry no gamblers. No crowd shooters. No big shot ramblers. This train is bound for glory. This train.
Help us sing it, everybody.
This train is bound for glory. This train. This train is bound for glory. This train. This train is bound for glory. Don't carry nothing but the righteous and the holy. This train is bound for glory.
Go ahead, Chris.
This train. Oh, this train don't carry no lies. This train. This train don't carry no lies. This train. This train don't carry no lies. She's streamlined on a midnight flight. This train is bound for glory. This train.
All right, sing it.
This train is bound for glory. This train. This train is bound for glory. This train. This train is bound for glory. Don't carry nothing but the righteous and the holy. This train is bound for glory. This train. This train.
Thank you for a lovely evening, everyone. Chris Thompson, Meredith Thompson, Jackie Damsky. Thank you. Make 'em work for it. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. What a surprise.
We didn't peek at all.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for braving the glare. Thanks for that fantastic man on sound right there, that guy right there. Beautiful man. All the volunteers and everybody. Beth, love you. All the sergeants and everybody. So this is called Irene, good night. And if you can sing with us, that would be great. Just one thing I want to say about this. This song is older than Leadbelly. It's old, and the further back you go, the rougher it gets. Like the Weavers really sanitized this thing in the 40s. We're going to give you a pretty sanitized version. But just for the sake of conversation on the ride home, it's a folk song, you know, with kind of a perky melody, you know, like. But just for the sake of conversation, I want you to pay attention to how many of the verses are about knocking yourself off. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for singing. Thanks for supporting live music. There's not a lot of young people coming behind you to support the Dawn White world, so I need you to do what your doctor says. You know, if you don't, there's just going to be an empty seat here. There's no minor leagues coming. All right. Sometimes I live in the country. Sometimes I live in the town. God knows I do. I will love her till the river runs dry. If Irene turns her back on me, I'm gonna take morphine and try. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams.
Well, sometimes Irene wears pajamas, and sometimes Irene wears a gown. But when they are both in the laundry, Irene is the talk of the town.
Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams.
Stop your rambling, stop your gambling, stop staying out late at night. Go home to your wife and family. Stop being a jerk, Don White.
Irene, good night. I don't remember that verse. Irene, good night. Big ending now. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Thank you for a lovely evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Meredith Thompson, Chris Thompson, Jackie Dansky. Here, let's pretend we're the Beatles.
Don White!
Pretend we're the Beatles. Chris Thompson, we're the Beatles.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.